What's up, guys? I'm Connor Ferguson here with Jeff Woody, Collin Newell. This is Football and Random Things, as we like to shorten it to FART. Before we get started today, I want to talk to you about the Wyffels Hybrids Independent Corn Breeding Program. At Wyffels, the team of plant breeders and technicians concentrate solely on corn. The result, a level of effort uncommon in the seed business, especially among companies marketing seed for multiple crops. At Wyffels Hybrids, we intensely focus on developing hybrids for the heart of the Corn Belt. How about that? The greatest independent company on the face of the planet Earth. It is Wyffels Hybrids. They present Football and Random Things. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great. I also really appreciate the NPR volume level that you got going on.
I try to mix it up.
Yeah, very calm.
It's very calm. It's very nice.
I was very calm all Saturday night watching that football game.
Right?
I was almost asleep by the midway through the third quarter, and in a good way, where you're like, there was no stress to that game. It was comfortable all the way through. I mean, even from the weirdest, the best start for Iowa State that you could possibly imagine, and the worst, absolutely the worst start for BYU that you could ever picture or draw up.
I think the fact that it was like you could fall asleep and feel pretty comfortable about it. I don't know how many times in my life I've experienced an Iowa State game that way. So that was a comfortable feeling. Kind of like you said, the start. I mean, holy buckets! Like come out there, take care of business, and you're up 10-0 before anything even happens. Just a great start, and throughout the day, we proved we could do anything we wanted to do. Really.
Yeah, you know what's also great? I was just thinking about this. Aiden, you want to double check or fact check this? I think Iowa State, the last 4 times that Iowa State has played a game in the Mountain they're 4-1 in the Mountain or Pacific time zones, with the only loss being at Colorado in 2010, because there's the Insight Bowl in 2009, Colorado in 2010. Didn't go anywhere until the Fiesta Bowl when you guys won there, and then UNLV was that year.
No, it was after.
Well, that was the next.
Then
year.
the UNLV was the year after that. Then going out to Provo. So in the Mountain and Pacific time zones, I think the last 5 times Iowa State's gone, there's 4-1 in the last 5, with 1 loss at Colorado. So bring on the Western teams, man.
It's a staple of the program.
Bring on the Western
West Coast
teams.
road trips.
And the coolest thing about it is they were 21-0 in games after dark or after sunset, right?
That's the first one they've lost since it was over COVID. They scheduled a game with BYU in like 48 hours because they were both undefeated and wanted to prove themselves. BYU and Coastal Carolina.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
because there was a game that
it
was like Coastal's game got canceled because some other team had COVID, and BYU was like, all right, we'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of the cooler college football stories. And we got some cool ones for this weekend, but that was one of the cooler ones that I remember from, especially like how tumultuous that year was. It was like a middle finger to all the ADs that were like, you can't just schedule a game in 24 hours. They're like, yeah, we can. We just
did it.
We just did. We're flying out to Carolina.
Yeah, our biggest problem is figuring out if we get a flight out there.
Yeah. But no, BYU is worse than I expected them to be.
I think Iowa State came out and played really well too.
Yeah.
I think
it was both things at the same time.
I think it was a combination, and I mean, when you go out there and win 45-13, makes you feel pretty good about rolling into Texas week.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And before we really hop into the game, I wanted to put this out there that that was Matt Campbell's 6th season with an above 500 record in conference play. Before that, from 1945 to 2016, this is from the great Mike Green, Iowa State had 7 total. So he has, in the past 8 years, gotten to 6.
It's not really even like arguable at all. Like Matt Campbell's the best coach in the history of Iowa State football.
Yes.
By a ways, like by a significant margin. He is the Usain Bolt to everybody else's just, I don't know, JV sprinter.
And to think that people wanted him gone a couple months ago, it just shows like, what are we thinking? Like, we are so lucky. Like, whatever it takes for this guy to stay here, just for personally, like for the relationships that he's built with his players and the program he's built, like Iowa State fans should be more proud of what he does for people in the community and kids in the program than the results.
The thing that doesn't reach casual fans enough, especially because you're not usually in the thick of a race to go to the Big 12 title game, so finishing the difference between 4th and 7th or 3rd and 5th, like, doesn't ever come up. In Big 12 basketball, you get the seeding of the tournament and everything like that. And I feel like that's where the disconnect is like fans just don't pay attention to the standings as much as they do in basketball. So that Big 12 success is kind of like, as we like to say, into the ether a little to an extent with a casual fan.
Yeah, and I also think that there is such a recency bias. Like the thing with basketball is there's been the last undefeated team in the regular season was Kentucky in like 2011 or something like that. And other than that, like there's the expectation of losses, but undefeated teams happen fairly regularly in football, but there's like 2 a season. But people like see that there is an undefeated team, like, oh, Georgia didn't lose, so I'm mad that we lost. It's like, okay, yeah, you can also be mad that you lost, but in the same light, happens to everybody. So I think that, I don't know. I feel like another thing just about the appreciation of the Campbell coaching staff and Nate Scheelhaas, I mean, that might have been his best game.
Unbelievable.
And when people think about a game, they think about this particular game because they're watching it. And they don't think about all the context that led up to that game. And so then you think, we've kind of tried to mention at least a little bit of like exceptionally young roster, tremendously young roster. To get this young roster to be functioning at the level that they are is insane. And to deal with all the offseason stuff that goes into it, that it's not just Saturday from 9:15 to whatever, 1 a.m., whatever it was. It's not just that. Like, it's all the rest of it. And I think people forget or don't realize the difficulty of getting something to that point. So yeah, to me, it feels like there's a lack of appreciation or understanding of like how much it takes to get here. So it feels like 2017 and this season might be the best coaching jobs that the staff has had to do. And I would maybe even put this one as the top, pretty much regardless of what happens the rest of the year, because of all the shit that happened in the offseason. How many young players you got to just like throw into the fire and say, all right, good luck.
We got to learn.
Good luck, Rocco. Hey, Boniface, have fun, buddy. You got a true freshman next to you and a guy on the other tackle who's played football for like 3 years. Good luck. So to me, it feels like that's the biggest thing, is that there's just people don't understand how difficult it is to do that. So they just look at the games on Saturday and they go, oh, we lost to Kansas. This sucks. There's more to it.
Some more stats for you. I'm just going to rattle these off because otherwise we'll be talking here for a while. Iowa State has now won 3 straight conference road games in the same season for the first time since 1978. The Cyclones have secured bowl eligibility for the 6th time in the last 7 seasons, and that's a first in program history as well.
Well, wasn't there, prior to Campbell getting here, didn't we go to like 5 bowl games ever?
It's more than that, maybe like 8 or 9. I don't know the number on exactly.
Because I remember we went to 3, and like that was a record when we went to 3 in 5 years.
Do you remember what game was it? No, it's too deep of a pull. I think it was Missouri or something. You guys beat Mizzou to clinch bowl eligibility or something. It might have been the year you beat Oklahoma State.
2000. Well, that was the game.
That was the game.
That was the game we clinched eligibility.
I thought it was a different one. Maybe not. Another one here that I was looking at, especially at the start of the game, because it popped up on the TV as soon as Iowa State got in the red zone. In Big 12 play, they are 24 for 24 scoring in the red zone, 14 touchdowns, 10 field goals.
Now, can we take a timeout while you're going through? I don't know if there's any more statistics.
You're good.
That is the biggest difference from last year to this year.
That's why I saved it for last.
100% of the difference from last year to this year is actually converting drives to points. Like, I don't know what the statistics for last year's yardage was, but third downs and red zone, that's what makes this team actually winning games, as opposed to last year. They would move the ball, they would get to the 31-yard line and then just fizzle out, or they would throw an interception, or they'd fumble something, or it's just a mistake somewhere and they wouldn't convert. Versus this year, 24 for 24 in red zone trips and scoring. Hard to lose when you're doing that.
And just take a moment here for the kicker.
Plus.
Like the consistency to say, hey, I'm 10 for 10, like on what, as we all would think is probably non-kickers, like, hey, that's got to be 100%. That's got to be consistent, but no blocks, no nothing. Like, to be able to have that consistency at the kicker position to say, hey, you're keeping us at this 100% mark, right? Like, 10 of these times we've relied on you to make sure that we score points when we get in the red zone, and he's been able to do that. And I mean, that's the difference between winning and losing ball games. So awesome to have that consistency back there.
He hasn't missed a kick, period. He also has, good point. He also has that rushing attempt.
Yeah.
that first down. But hasn't missed a kick period in Big 12 play.
I mean, just consistency. You can't make
I'm
that
sorry.
up.
I'm sorry. He missed one against TCU. My bad. That's on me.
How long?
But that was also we
40
talked
something.
we talked about it on Kicking It actually. So that was the Jack Trice game.
Yes.
They all had new Jack Trice stamped footballs.
That's
so they
right,
didn't get
I
to use
remember
kicking
this.
balls on that. Like they were using the game throwing footballs. So the snap, hold, and kick, like if the shape of the ball is slightly different, it's like you're using a golf ball that's, a 1/4 of an inch bigger or a 1/4 of an inch smaller when you're kicking. So he missed one field goal, and that was Perkins' worst game in the TCU game because they were using smaller, brand new footballs during that one. So outside of that one, because they had to stamp the Jack Trice logo on the new ones. So outside of that game, it's been perfect.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge even for an offense. Like, know that you're going to end with a kick.
Because imagine in the BYU game when they went fumble, interception, fumble on their first 3 plays, you get the ball on the 25-yard line, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They did end up punching it in because BYU had a little bit of juice at that point, and they get a stop. Imagine if Contreras misses that field goal.
Oh.
Imagine if you go 0, you don't get any points, and BYU can go,
Oh crap!
man,
We're still in the ball
we're
game.
still in the ball game. That was the worst thing that could have happened, and it's
Look where we're at.
7-0.
Yep.
But it goes to 10-0, and you convert both of those to points like that. It really, set the game to the point where BYU is playing uphill the entire way, and they couldn't ever get back on level footing.
You're keeping it a 2-possession game. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I went back and I'm watching the game over. I have not been able to see like the first 2 to 3 plays. I saw a replay of Sanders' rush to get it to the 3-yard line, but because ESPN came into the game late, it's just lost. I have no clue what the debacle was in the first play. Did you guys see it?
Was the interception that they overthrew?
Maybe I did see it then. Maybe I saw it in the replay.
Whatever
later
the quarterback was kind of was like booting to the right and like tried to throw it to a tight end, but like missed him by like 4 yards high,
Gotcha,
and then just
okay.
overthrew the receiver and threw it to Will McLaughlin, and Will McLaughlin picked it off, and that's what set up the second drive. I didn't see the first one. I would imagine it just bobbled kick return. But
Yeah.
the other one, the one play, like we didn't even talk about it on Kicking It when we recorded yesterday. That fullback, maybe they're nicer on the sidelines when on the second return, the one that set up the field goal, when Iowa State pooch kicked it to the up back instead of the deep returner. In that situation, as an up back, you have not practiced against, like, running against a kick return and running against a defense is very different because everyone is sprinting full speed as opposed to like coming off blocks. So that was the position that I played. And basically they said, if you can go backwards, like if you need to go backwards, it's the returner's job. If you catch it, get as many yards as you can and basically just get down, like live to fight another down. And so they would put, you could put defensive end or a whatever, somebody back there. This guy tried to become Devin Hester and ball got punched out because he didn't recognize how fast everybody's moving on a special teams play. So like on the sideline, that's one of those ones. I would imagine the BYU staff is a little bit less yelly than what otherwise staffs would be. It seems like the personality isn't very like
Get in your face. Yeah.
But that's the type of mistakes that you absolutely cannot make, and that's the kind of mistakes that BYU made pretty much the entire game.
And they were really hyping him up after he fumbled about how good he was at special teams.
The fullback, 42, whatever.
Ray Paula or something. Like that.
Made a mistake.
Made a mistake,
but-
that was a big mistake.
Huge.
Joey Peterson tapped it loose, and that Drew Surgis kid that we heard a little bit
true
about
freshman,
coming
right?
into the season, he recovered.
He's another freshman. I mean,
Yeah.
there's just so many there's so many young
I
players.
think
in
With
this
still-
team.
Jeremiah
I think
Cooper
still a
out,
walk-on.
Jamison Patton got the start.
Yeah. Hey, Ankeny Hawks, man.
Freshman.
Which also shout out, good job.
Yeah,
right?
Shout out
yeah,
Collin
no.
Newell.
Going to the
Gets
state
the
championship.
state title game we got in 3-4 days.
Yep.
What's the scouting report for the Rams? What
They're
are we looking at?
talented. They kicked our butt early in the season.
Don't say too much. They'll listen.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. They know what they are.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We know what we are. They know what they are.
Good old-fashioned rivalry game.
Talented quarterback here coming to Iowa State. I'm excited to have him at Iowa State. That's for sure. But
He's a junior, isn't he?
Senior.
Senior? Okay.
Yeah.
We got some dudes who just play really hard.
Yeah.
And they're fun to watch. So tune in.
They got
Go
a kid.
Hawks.
They got
Friday
a
at
kid,
7.
They got a kid
Still so
named,
weird to say.
No, they got a kid named Carson Robbins. That's also he's one of the
Yep.
receivers, and he's coming for a preferred walk on to
Yep.
Iowa State.
Yep.
So,
Torched
Cool.
us in our first meeting.
Cool.
how are you going to stop him this time?
Don't let him catch the ball.
Better defense.
Don't
There
let him
we
catch
go.
the ball.
Yep.
Good game plan for you guys. I think you guys might win.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I do too.
Oh man, there's so much to talk about from this game too. I think Rocco is just coming into his own. I believe he only has one interception since the Oklahoma game.
When? What would
I'm
that have
at
been?
Chris posted
He had an
something this
interception
morning,
last
and
week.
Yeah, it was it was a pick
Yeah.
6 last week.
Yeah.
I first read it as in Big 12 play, and I was like, that's not right. That's for sure not right. But I think he might only have one.
Well, and just talking about situationally, like you can tell he's a son of a coach, you know, like
Yes.
because understanding when and where to take your chances, he's really good at that, and is coming in and becoming a lot better at that as time has gone on. And the thing that he's now doing a little bit more of that he's more comfortable is the scrambles on critical down and distances. Like when there was a 3rd and 4, I think he scrambled. There's 3 scramble conversions that he had. I think one was even like a 3rd and 8.
Yeah,
where
long one.
it's also because he recognized like it's not just like there's an opening, run. Like it's part that, but it's also part I know they're in man coverage and I know where the routes being run are, so I know where the space and availability to run is. So it's not just like there's an opening, run. If everybody from the right side is running, let's say it's a drag, so at 2 yards off or 2 yards past the line of scrimmage, and they're running to the left, and then the next guy is running a dig at 10 yards, running to the left, and then there's guys running a post. So there's 3 receivers and they're all running away on the left side and they're in man coverage. Now, where can you run is you can run to where they left because all the defenders are now going with those offensive players vacated that space. So it's knowing your route concepts, knowing what defenses are going to be run, and knowing where the space you can actually escape to is. And when you take off, do I have enough space to actually get there? He's done it a couple times earlier in the season where he'd take off and didn't have enough, easily wasn't going to make it. It was like 5 yards short. But there were 3 different scrambles that he was super just dead on the money. It was 3rd and 4, got 6. 3rd and 8, got 10. Those plays that he's making, and like those are the impressive ones where, all right, we need a play. I'm gonna make a play. Let's just make it. Just go get it done. Like no excuses. Just go make it happen. It's like your buddy. It's like what your buddy Brock does all the time. That's Brock's MO.
Yeah, that's how you win in Madden too. Man, 3rd down, 3rd and 4, and you know that you got a fast quarterback, and
No, I'm glad because you just opened the door for me to compare everything to College Football Revamped that Aiden got on my PS3
ooh,
a couple weeks back.
yeah. No, I think just the consistency we've seen out of Rocco, just the growth too. He came out and he's played well since the beginning. Really, like he truly has played. He's had a great season. But it's just
2 interceptions by the way since the Oklahoma game. I got to do better at fact checking the stats that people send me.
yeah.
Well, I tried to credit people, and then I'm like trying to remember that. Then I'm like, hold on, I should probably check if they're
Make sure that
correct.
their stats are right.
Yeah, that's
Not
on me,
just
guys.
being-
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
But no, I just think the consistency he's had, it's been huge for this team. Not having the up and down, not having the tons of turnovers, not having lack of leadership, confidence, anything like that. You watch that guy out there, and as a true freshman, he's leading the team.
Mm-hmm.
He's going out there and he's saying, hey, guys, follow me. This is what we need to do. Hey, guys, it's 3rd and 4. Hey, I will scramble because I have studied film and I do know what's going to happen. So he's put himself in a position to be successful. You can see that he's bringing young guys along. I'm sure there's a couple seniors in there too, older upperclassmen that are probably guiding some of these guys even behind the scenes. But it's just really cool to see the growth, right? Guys like Jalen Newell who are getting their opportunities to go out there and make an impact on some of these young guys. Jalen's become a fan favorite and become a guy it's a consistent target
and still has
for
another
Rocco.
year. Like that's a crazy thing as we look at all these like old guys. Like, he's a junior. Jalen Newell's a junior.
Yeah.
He'll be back for another season.
Yeah.
Like that's the crazy part too, is that all these experienced guys, these old guys, they're all coming back. Or they all have the capacity to come back.
It's kind of crazy to think that like COVID, like the kids still can take COVID years yet. Like it's like, when is this gonna end? Like we got 25-year-old.
We're really close to the end of that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not gonna lie, it's changed football a little bit, and I don't think that there's really anybody that can be like, oh, that's a bad rule that they implemented. Dudes are getting to prove themselves one more time, another year of development. It just shows that every year how much guys grow, how much guys get better. Like that continues on for a long time.
I'm a big advocate for we should raise the college eligibility to 5 years because now all the stats are off and like Ashley Jones, her all-time scoring record is never going to get touched.
Right, unless someone comes in.
like
They have to
45
score.
points
They
a
have to
game.
score 20% more because they are going to have an extra year.
Yeah.
So you have to 20% more every year, or whatever. however the math breaks down, yeah, it'd be 20%, 25% more, be 25% more per year.
Yeah.
For a person to break Ashley Jones' record because you have to a year short, or like Bohannon's. I mean,
look at
7 years.
like Jordan.
7 years because he had a what
the medical waiver and stuff like that.
Yeah,
all the way through.
and then had another COVID year. So I mean, there's no way that's going to get broken. Because
and if you're out there going, no, 4 years is already enough. If you're telling me you didn't want to see Johnny Manziel play one more season of college football, you're lying to yourself. Absolutely lying to yourself. So I wish I could see you guys out there one more time.
I think at this point I'm good.
There's film. You can go back and watch it.
You can see it on a 4:3 aspect ratio.
You can go back and watch Shackleton's TV or something and see that.
Have you guys seen through, especially this season, I've seen a lot. There's a lot of accounts that not even sure if they're all attached to the same company. Real Analytics was the one I pulled it from, but Abu Sama was the 5th. He reached like the 5th highest speed of any player in college football this week, but people are enamored with these videos of
They're cool.
radaring, one specific player on a field during at whatever time. I don't understand the technology. I feel like it's just distance over time and like timed out by a computer really
Or
quickly.
hash marks or
But
something.
it's still crazy to me, and people just eat it up. Like,
Yeah,
they love it.
Well, and it's cool just because I mean I doubt that there's like a giant repository of everybody's information. I mean, the NFL they do, but because did you guys wear like the catapults? Yeah, we didn't. We had a couple that it was kind of like early in the technology. We would have maybe like 10 or 15 of those, and you just put them on the guys that you're trying to track total distance or total mileage, and be like, all right, well, our corners and safeties ran 5 cumulative miles yesterday at practice. We should lighten their load in the weight room. Like I was never going to be, I was more in the box, so I wasn't really going to be mileage problem. But like as time went on, you put a catapult on, that takes miles per hour, total distance traveled. You know,
can like do like the force that's generated, impact, like to see like, hey, like holy crap, like it was a physical game. Like these dudes are beat up, like whether they know it or not, they're beat up because what they've done is twice the output or 50% more output than what they've been used to with, hey, it's a physical game, bash and stuff like that. So it was interesting stuff on what they were able to do with that.
I would imagine they don't like to get the information. They don't probably have everybody's catapult system like uploaded to a database, but it's probably
that's
similar.
what you were saying, but everyone has because they utilize.
Everyone
that
has
now
like
everywhere.
internally that information exists.
When you guys see the black like tank tops the basketball team's wearing in warm-ups, that's
And you look at their
technology.
back. It's like where if you were to like where the tag on your t-shirt is, that's more or less where the catapult sits. So when it looks like the thing that looks like a sports bra, that's what that thing is. That's what they're doing. It's just getting tracking for information.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. But to go back to your point, like it is so like people love that stuff because it confirms what they saw.
Yeah.
Like we saw Abu get out there and open up, and it was like that dude is fast.
Yeah,
Like,
there was that. I thought that defender kind of quit, but then I watched it again. I'm like, maybe he was just like that much faster. And the guy's like, no shot. I could dive and like I wouldn't.
and he made that dude miss so bad. Like
with the two moves, it was funny. It's the
was
same
nice.
guy. So
It was? I didn't
the
realize
same
that.
guy. It was number 33. It's a strong safety. It's the same guy both times.
concrete.
It's funny because like I was watching the game with my wife, and she's laid back in the chair about half awake, and I as soon as I did that, I was like, oh, like did one of those like, oh shit, and she was like, what? And I was like, you have to see this, and she was mildly impressed, but like as I was trying to explain why that was so impressive, what Sama did in the open field when there's just an infinite amount of space, not infinite, but you know what I mean? Like open space, there's a safety, there's a whole bunch of grass on either side. That is relatively easy to make miss. If I have a good amount of time, and now granted, taking good angles makes it different, but like if I have a big amount of space, it's easier to make you miss because
set it up.
I can set it up a lot longer. What Sama did on his touchdown run and the one earlier in the drive that set that up where he's just making dudes miss, just like leaving jock straps in the field. That guy condensed. He didn't play it super poorly. The defender's shoulders got a little more turned than you'd want. Like you want to keep your shoulders square to line of scrimmage, but like he was going to make a tackle, but he condensed down space. Sama didn't really have anywhere to go unless he moved that guy and then came back. Like that, you can't teach that. And the difficulty level of making somebody miss that bad at the line of scrimmage in no space, that's Brees stuff. Like Brees would do that. Not a lot of people. Montgomery can do that. Not a lot of people can make that happen. To me, that's what like makes his ceiling is so high because he just can do that.
And Montgomery kind of did it in the backfield when he was at
Well, kind of because he had to.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But like Brees kind of took it to another level when he got here because he'd get to the edge and then pull that same move out of his hat in the middle of a rush.
It was more reactionary too. Like it's like this dude's like, okay, like it's not like he had this big time to set it up. You know what I mean? Like it's truly like, oh, I'm taking the ball and the guy right there. Okay, I'm like reacting right away. So it's just so impressive to watch him do it. And
13.8 yards per carry.
I mean, 8 carries for 110 yards with 2 touchdowns. Like I think we can be pretty excited.
I'll work with that.
I think we can be pretty excited. I mean, not just this game. I mean, like throughout the season, like this game felt like the game that it was like, all right, like this guy is going to be consistently legit. Like 8 carries, 110 yards. Eli Sanders, 9 carries. Cartavius, 6 carries. Like it's starting to show like who's going to be our workhorses here. Like we got 3 guys who are all a little bit different runners. And I feel like Abu's ceiling is the highest by quite a bit. But those other guys are super talented.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good to see Carson
And
Hansen.
he's getting Hanson's getting a decent amount of run too.
He got 5 carries too.
And he was in like he's the third and long guy because I would imagine he's the best receiver out of the backfield by like a good margin. He's way got the best hands, but he also seems him and Norton block the best.
Yep.
So like whenever it's 3rd and 11. I'm either going to catch a pass out of the backfield or I'm going to have to pick up a linebacker. Like one of those two things happens. So you need a guy. If you have a guy that can do both, it helps that Rocco doesn't have to feel like, oh shit, if there's a blitzer on the left side, I know my running back's responsible for it, but I don't think he's going to get it. So I have to move off my spot or I got to look down. And just having a guy like Hansen be able to do both of those things, it makes it so Rocco can feel more comfortable. And like, here's another thing that's fun and exciting. Who would you say are best? I mean, our quarterback is obviously Rocco. Our best running backs are freshman, sophomore, freshman. Bramer is freshman. He's probably your best, interior receiving threat. And then you got Higgins and Knoll, who are junior, and Daniel Jackson, who's a junior. Pretty much everyone who has touched the ball, other than Easton Dean, will come back next year.
Yeah. And the offensive line is the same exact situation.
Except for Hufford.
Yeah, Hufford's the only guy, right?
Could potentially have a COVID year.
Oh, he does? Has he taken his COVID year yet?
No.
Oh, wow. So Hufford can come back.
Yeah.
Like this whole 11 starters can come back on offense.
Yeah.
I mean, Easton Dean being the one exception if he's listed as the starter, but then Bramer will pretty quick.
How do
Bramer
they-
or even Tyler Moore might even slide in there.
Is there
Or
a
Steve-O.
universal like rule for how many games you have to start to be considered a returning starter?
I think just one.
Is it
I have
just
no
one?
idea.
I think it's just one.
I
I don't know
feel
if
like
there's a
it's
universal
not
rule.
because when I look at like Phil Steele and different preseason magazines and stuff, and they are big on returning starters because that's how they did it for years. And I never know because I'm like that guy definitely started at least 1 or 2 games last year.
I don't
That's
know.
what
He
I
could
feel.
choose
I
his
could
own.
just
Yeah,
be
he could choose his
misremembering it. I don't know. So I didn't know if that was like a known commodity,
I
but
don't
I
know.
knew you would know if it was.
Well, I would imagine it's just I think in the program if you started a game you get like that little asterisk next to your name, returning starter,
I have no idea.
returning letter winner or whatever. But-
It is still very exciting, and to have that not
At
easy
least
of a
10 out of
game,
11.
but that performance in that second half where you can rest some of these guys and not play a full 60 minutes is massive coming into this week.
Yeah.
Because this week's a different challenge.
And what I think is tough about a game like that, late kickoff, 8:15 out there, those guys aren't getting home until 6, 7 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there is a lot of catching up to do. Thankfully, it is a 7 p.m. game. Like, that does make a difference as far as, like, getting caught up. Like, you don't feel quite as rushed as an 11 a.m. game. I know
Really?
it's 8 hours, but, like, everything is just like, all right, it's late. I mean, it's 8 more hours for them to recover.
Because you kind of set yourself back like a day when you're getting back at 6 or
I mean, you're going to be tired.
they
till
might come into
Tuesday.
the
yeah, you're
facility
gonna
on
be tired
Sunday.
until
Yeah,
Tuesday,
absolutely.
and just for the recovery, the whole thing, and when you get out of there and you're like, hey, we were pretty healthy coming out of the game. I would imagine like you got some guys playing experience. You got confidence going into this game. Guys are going to put in the extra work. Like everyone knows who Texas is. Like you're not going to beat around the bush. Like they're a talented team. They have dudes. Don't have the running back, which doesn't stink, but
No.
it's just another opportunity for these guys to make sure like, hey, we got time to recover. We got everything we need. We got systems in place, and we have a lot of control.
Yeah, the positive is there was no NASCAR race on Sunday, so the 3 hours they would have been up watching that, they could have taken a nap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
all
it's
those,
100%.
all those,
100%. It's
all those
that's a
NASCAR
big
fans.
advantage.
NASCAR
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah, I
Would it
didn't take
surprise you? Like I don't know, but like would it surprise you if Brendan Black was like a huge NASCAR fan?
I need to know who the football players are that love NASCAR, and I will
Feels
get
like
them
Brendan
out
Black.
I will get
'cause
them
the
out to
Flor-
Iowa Speedway
the
next
dude
year.
from Florida who's a big hunter, like
Yeah.
big outdoorsman.
Yeah.
Feels like he's like hunting gators. Like that feels like he seems like the NASCAR demographic.
I will get them out to Iowa Speedway next year. If anyone knows, reach out to me. Let me know.
Are you a dirt track guy or no?
Yeah, that's what I do for a living. Is write about. It's a lot more dirt track than it is asphalt because of where the races are and where the big tracks are. But we cover everything.
Have you ever been to the Boone Speedway then?
Yeah, a couple of times. It's a nice track. I want to go to Super Nationals. It's always during Cyhawk though.
Okay. Is that at Boone Raceway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's the one. Same place.
I've
and
been there
everything
one
like that.
time.
Did you like it?
Yeah. It was-
Depending on the night, that can feel a little bit closer to grassroots than it can like big series coming in.
Oh yeah, the night that I was
Yeah.
there was definitely a graduate.
Yeah.
It was.
There's some awesome people.
It was
down
cool.
there.
Like it
Yeah.
was fun. Like I'm not really a race guy, but like I had a good time like going out there and
If you had
checking
walked
it
into the
out.
right trailer and said, "I'm Collin Newell," they would have loved you. There's a
Yeah.
few
Walk
Iowa
into
State
the wrong
fans we know
trailer.
down there.
That's a little.
They would have just given
they
you
just would
crap.
be like, "Who? I don't
Yeah,
know
who
who
is
you
This
are."
guy.
Oh, that's enough dirt track talk. I'm overstaying my welcome on this podcast.
I like the dirt track conversation a little more than the other one.
The undefeated Drake Bulldog conversation.
Let's go, baby. We're back.
That was a shit game though.
It
Oh my
was.
god, it was like
All right,
watching.
There's a
Aiden,
lot of-
what do we got next?
A lot of drives where he didn't finish points.
It's like watching an Iowa game.
I told them good luck passing him in the tunnel yesterday. Oh, he's got the timer on
No,
again. Now
we
we
need to
have
cut
to.
that
Now
time.
you've committed it. We were going to keep it to 30 seconds. Now it's 2 minutes.
Yep. No,
Shout
I
out
don't
Aiden.
even. Doesn't even go any further. I mean, they
Perfect.
won. They
Done.
won. It was ugly.
We gotta
Moving
beat
on to
Butler
Baylor.
Saturday.
They win Baylor.
Butler.
Excuse me. If they move on to Butler, they win at Butler. They win the PFL. Go to the playoff. If they don't, who knows?
It's the first time in program history if they can make it happen.
Anyway,
Good luck to them. That's all.
Hey,
knock on wood.
2, 1,
Calm
time.
down. Calm down over there. All right. You guys want to go around the Big 12?
I think the only thing.
Let's talk more Texas.
The only
I'm
thing
sorry,
going
I
into
lost
Texas.
track.
The only thing going into Texas that I'm like, I don't want to say necessarily is concerning, because I think the way the offense has been moving the ball, and as long as Rocco continues to make decisions, or continue to make good decisions, then they'll be able to move the ball, even though Texas defense is salty. The other thing is making sure that they don't get caught up in crazy one-on-one matchups in the offensive line, because that's, I think Texas is gonna watch the Kansas film and say, how do we make sure that we as Texas get one-on-ones with the offensive line in positions where it's going to be, a two-way go for a guy, making sure that they can solve those problems. That's one. Making sure Rocco can make good decisions. But assuming those two things are at least adequate, I think they're going to be able to move the ball. Jeremiah Cooper being healthy is huge. And or whoever is playing in there, because they're going to be matched up on Whittington, more or less. Because like when Iowa State has another guy, like Miles Purchase might come in. He's come in as like the nickel guy, as like the slot receiver. So Miles Purchase might be going around with Jordan Whittington a lot. But in normal defensive fronts, it's the Jeremiah Cooper position. It's the field safety that matches up with the slot receiver a lot of the time. And that was what caused all the problems against Kansas and a lot against Oklahoma with Malik Verdon on the other side, is they're going to target whoever's in for Jeremiah Cooper. So they've got to be on it. I think run fits doesn't really matter. They're going to be good against the run, especially without Jonathan Brooks. But without Jeremiah Cooper or whoever's playing in there being really good, that is a huge weak spot for the defense that I'm nervous about if he's not able to go, or if he's at like 70%. So that's something that like I'm watching, because they will 100% target whoever is in for him if he's not in.
I think just kind of going back to the offensive points that you made there, I think it's crucial that we stay ahead of the sticks. Like we need to be in 3rd and 3, not 3rd and 12.
Yeah.
We need to be 3rd and 5, not 2nd and 16. Like pre-snap penalties, staying ahead of the sticks, being efficient on 1st and 2nd down, and getting ourselves in a position where it's like, hey, we can let Rocco sneak out here, knowing they're playing man coverage, and sneak out and get something. We don't expose ourselves to those two-way goes as an offensive line, because Texas and Oklahoma, they always have some crazy stuff, and they got dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have dudes who can make plays, and being able to say, hey, we're in 3rd and 6 compared to 3rd and 10, the blitzes that they bring are different, as well as just the time it takes. Like if you have to get 6 yards compared to 10 yards, it's going to take half second less. That's a half second less you have to block for potentially. And just being aware that they're going to play more base defense, especially if Rocco gets out and scrambles early a couple times and converts some on 3rd and down, or it gets us in a 3rd and 2 and we can still run the ball and make them true play defense, opposed to just tee off and get that one-on-one pass rush. I think is going to be a huge part of the success for the Cyclones.
Yeah, and the thing I'm looking at, and Woody, you let me know if you think this is more of Texas getting worn down or the team kind of taking their foot off the gas because they have a lead. But each of the last 2 weeks, they've allowed the team that they are beating pretty badly to get back into the game.
3 of the last 4.
Yep.
So
3 of the last 4.
The only one being BYU where they just ran away from it. But Houston almost gave that one up. Kansas State almost gave that one up. And TCU almost gave that one up.
That was kind of closer than game was less close than the scoreboard indicated. But
either way,
yes.
like it was a 24-24, and then it became 27-24. Like they almost gave that up. And I think it feels like, so we talked with someone from Texas on Kicking It, which will come out tomorrow, and breaking down essentially like what that is and taking their foot off the gas, calling offenses more conservatively. In the TCU game, the TCU had an 11-minute drive. So Texas only had 11 total snaps in the entire 3rd quarter, 11-minute touchdown drive, force a punt, get another scoring drive. You have the ball the entire second half. So it's like, yeah, defense is getting worn down. They're just not executing as well. So that's a thing that Texas can do is they can get to a hot start. They can also give it back up. But on the flip side, they could also get out to a really slow start, and they have enough talent to come back. One thing that I'd be interested in, I was just looking up, do you think that TJ Tampa travels with Xavier Worthy? Or are you going to leave them on each one side?
I don't know. I feel like you got to have confidence in the defense.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of key situations he'll travel, but I would feel like most of the time it's probably...
I think it really depends, too, and I'm not even sure there's a correlation here, but as long as the rest of your defense is healthy, a la Jeremiah Cooper playing in the game. Otherwise, I think, you would probably want to stick him on Worthy the whole game if you don't have Cooper back there.
Yeah.
And try to go 10-on-10 elsewhere, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he is, depending on who the guy is, but they also, Texas has enough talent elsewhere. I mean, with Whittington
Right.
and what's the other guy's name, number 4. They got enough talent elsewhere, but like, I think Worthy is a game breaker style guy. Like, to me, he gives a lot of CeeDee Lamb vibes where he can go from no receptions in the first half to 200 yards in the game. Like
Randy Moss stat line, three catches, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he could do that.
Yeah.
And that, to me, it depends on where the game is going. And Whittington's a guy who's like, he is Jalen Noel. I mean, so they're the same player.
Yep.
And then the other guy's big play wide receiver. But depending on who's hot, I mean, that's the nice thing about TJ Tampa is that
you can quiet him.
You can quiet him down if you need to. Like, throw number 2 on him, bring whatever you need to do. But I don't know. The defense, the secondary is going to have their biggest challenge of the year by far, because Oklahoma's really good, but they were without Malik Verdun. It was a different kind of, they were still kind of figuring everything out. This, to me, feels like the biggest challenge the secondary is going to face.
And Quinn Ewers is a really good quarterback too. Like he's back. I would have to imagine mostly healthy. Like, let's get after him. Let's get some pressure.
317 against TCU, so he's, I think, looking healthy.
Yeah.
To me, it feels like the nature of the game is going to be who makes. It's not even necessarily. I mean, mistakes. Like if something like the Kansas pick 6, like that was a mistake. Independent of those, don't make those. But then who forces the other's hand? Yeah. Like that's to I don't know. It doesn't feel like this game is going to get separate very far. Like there might be times when it's a 10-point lead one way or the other, but that lead's going to close back down. And who knows what the score is going to finish at? But this is going to be one of those ones it feels like it's going to be tense all the way through, regardless of what is happening. I would love it to not be, and it gets to be 24-0 in the middle of the 4th quarter. That'd be great. But I don't think it's going to happen that way, where there's too much talent, there's too much depth on both sides of the sideline that, like, I don't think it's going to be. This to me feels like a game that I will be, I don't know, locked in and sort of, biting your fingernails the entire way through.
Yeah, it's going to be an intense one. 7 p.m. kick, Jack Trice.
And
do you guys want to see the black uniforms?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're blaming the speaker for Kansas. So
No,
we have that asterisk.
Just played bad.
We didn't play well.
You can't. I had a padlock stat for years that they just don't lose in the black uniforms.
Well,
We don't much.
They don't much.
The asterisk is outside of the year 2022. only at home and when the speakers are working at 100%.
Okay, so you can qualify that stat.
So
however
listen
you
to the
want
speakers and warm-ups and you'll know. As long as they're wearing the black
I
uniforms.
think an interesting thing about Texas too is we all know that the roster is talented from top to bottom, second string, third string, fourth string. Like it doesn't matter. Like they have 3 stars go walk on there that Iowa State would offer a scholarship to. A lot of schools would offer scholarships to. They have a lot of talent there. Their biggest problem, in my opinion, is that they don't always stick together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been in my time there. We beat them because we played an entire football game. Kind of like you said, like, hey, they let people back in the second half. That's something that they're kind of known for. Like, let's go out there. Let's expose them early. Let's stay consistent. If you get down by 10, it's not the end of the world. Play yourself into it. Keep playing. Survive another down. You throw a pick, hey, we're going to be okay. Let's get the next one. I think that's just critical for this team to go out there and know. And I think it's going to be a reason why they win this football game.
Yeah. I'm also very excited this game is taking place in November and not in late September. With, like, the linebackers are going to have to be good because even though without Jordan Brooks, they still have, I mean, it might be the best offensive line in the conference, and there's a lot of talent that can move people around. Linebackers have gotten so much better over the course of the season. They were all babies. Other than Gary, they were babies.
Yep.
And they're starting to fill in really well. I think McLaughlin and Sadowski sort of feel like, and Caleb Bacon are the kind of the guys that have sort of elevated themselves the highest. And those guys are going to have to be good, but they have shown that they can and will be good now because they've gotten 8 games or 10 games of practice to become good. So I'm much more confident about this game now than I would have been. Now, granted, us, Ohio and Iowa aside, like if this was the week of the Oklahoma State game, I would not feel like there's a shot that Iowa State has to pull this one out. But because it's so far down the season with this team having as much practice as they have, I feel a lot more confident about it.
Giving a lot of freshmen a lot of opportunities to grow and learn.
Yeah, and 2 weeks left in the Big 12 season. Iowa State is tied with both Oklahoma schools and Kansas State for second in the Big 12 at 5-2. Texas leads at 6-1. The tiebreaker gets a little hazy. So if you are
a little hazy,
yeah, it's I don't know who wrote this. So this is hypothetical. No teams. Don't think about teams. 4 teams tied. Even if one team beat the rest of the 3 of them, if all 4 teams didn't play 3 games against the other 3 teams in that 4-way tie, they can't use it as a round robin, even if one team is 3-0 against the other 3. That's like one of the dumbest tie-breaking rules I've probably ever read in my life. I'm not saying it's going to bite Iowa State or anything. It might even help Iowa State depending on how it shakes out. But I hate it. It's just disgusting.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
And
you got to win your 2 games, and that's
this-
at least the first rule of what we're going to talk about with standings.
Is this like the same rules that like other leagues use as far as not being able to play each other? And
It hasn't came up a ton, especially like
Well, and
usually
it's East
you're a
and
round
West,
robin
yeah.
type of, or a
Yeah,
division,
yeah.
and you can kind of eliminate the
Yeah.
possibility of that ever being
Yeah.
a thing. But
and you would have played everyone in your own division.
yeah,
So then,
that eliminates that problem.
yeah, so it's a really unique problem. I'm not shocked the Big 12 found a way to write a terrible tiebreaker rule, but they did. So we'll see how that shakes out. I can't wait to see who gets bit by it.
Someone's not going to be happy about that.
Yeah,
at the end
so
of
shout out to IMRED, by the way. If you're trying to find all the ways Iowa State can win, just Google IMRED Big 12.
is that the
IMRED,
the letter M?
Yeah, MRED space Big 12. And it's like the first link. He's a Cyclone Fanatic user, big women's basketball fan. But he makes these like simulation machines and puts all the tiebreakers in himself.
wow.
Thank you for your service, because I could not.
That is A+
That's huge.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's huge because then you can
I think I've been using his site for like 10 years now, honestly.
just being able to apply different situations of if this happens, then this happens, then this happens, then
What happens?
what's
from
the
that?
result? Especially because you got to apply. I mean, I don't mean to bring up Drake in like a silliness, but as that game was going on, we're calling it. So Drake is undefeated in the season, and Davidson is undefeated in the season. They don't play each other. If they're both finished the season undefeated, it's down to tiebreakers. If
It's like the 6th one down.
yeah, so if they were both undefeated in the season, the 6th tiebreaker would favor Drake. If they both end the season with 1 loss, the 3rd tiebreaker then applies and kicks it over to Davidson. So like tiebreaker rules, we were going through them in the broadcast like during timeouts, being like, wait, okay, what if this happens? We brought the Drake AD who was talking with the PFL commissioner on the phone of trying to figure out what these situations are. So like Iowa State in the Big 12, and I mean, it's the same thing that like you're looking at it being like, well, if this happens, so it would be like if San Diego beats St. Thomas and then Davidson also loses to this, but then Drake wins here and this, but what if this happens? And then you have a three-way tie with these teams. It's a different rule. There could be 4 different teams that come out as the Big 12 champion, depending on how like a field goal goes. Yeah. So like, this is one of those things like, don't twist your head in knots too much as far as
Let
like
Iowa State win and take care of it.
Win and take care of it. And if you finish 7-2 in the conference, but finish in 3rd place.
Oh, you're one. Right. That's one. You're fine with that. 2, I think we kind of came to the consensus that cheer for the Oklahoma schools to lose.
Yeah, if one or both the Oklahoma schools lose, then you're in. That helps.
News, yes.
But that's, I mean, sort of oversimplified. But I mean, win the last 2 games, and
you have a shot.
And who knows what's going to shake out. But yeah, don't turn your head in knots trying to solve it, because
Let some algorithm come in and make it work.
There is a lot of math that has to go into that.
So we can go through the Big 12 schedule if you want. I did have a random thing I wanted to talk about though, so it's up to you. It's Jimbo Fisher.
Oh my God. Okay, so let's
interesting.
Jimbo, man. Okay, let's do the Big 12 and then let's finish with Jimbo.
Sure. So Saturday opens up ESPN 11 a.m. Oklahoma travels to BYU.
That. I think isn't the line like 20 and a half?
It's 24 and a half to
24 and a half. Still,
this is off ESPN's side. I'm not sure.
I would still play Oklahoma.
There.
I mean, BYU was
bad.
Not.
Yeah,
it was bad.
I agree.
And I think they're probably a little bit at screw it for the rest of the year.
What are we doing next year?
Yeah. And you get Oklahoma, and
they got a lot to play for.
They got a lot to play for still, especially because they can make it back to the, make it back to the championship game. Yeah. Boy, that is not going to be good.
Absolutely. Cincinnati travels to West Virginia, who's 6-4, looking at improving on that record. I think West Virginia's going to win that. They're favored by 6.5. 130 ESPN Plus.
But if Cincinnati pulls that off, it feels like those 2 teams are natural rivals that will grow to just really dislike each other, because you're going to be competing for recruits. Yeah. You're there. It's what, an hour and a half between West Virginia and Cincinnati. I mean, maybe I'm getting my geography wrong, but like
not far.
It's not far. It's all in the same area. It's the same kind of character. If Cincinnati manages to pull that one off, then that's like the start, like a little matchstick on the fire of that rivalry. So I think just for the sake of spiciness, I want Cincinnati to win that one.
It feels kind of like a Walmart West Virginia pit. Or West Virginia.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. It's a great value backyard brawl.
Yeah, exactly. I'll call it what it is. 2:30 ESPN Plus, the Rivalry. Baylor at TCU. 3-7 Baylor at 4-6 TCU.
That's just TCU. I think it's going to take care of it.
I don't think Baylor cares anymore.
I think everyone in the stadium should just boo the student government that came up with the Blue Bonnet Battle.
Oh,
that was what I was making.
That's what they called it?
They just made it like this week. The student governments got together and like put this thing together, and they're going to call it the Blue Bonnet Battle. They made a trophy. And then I think Cyclone Larry tweeted this. And speaking from being in group chats when I was in college, this is exactly how it goes. They said, go to the Instagram post and hype it up. And like one dude said, Baylor, Bears, ARG, sports, and like 3 football emojis. And it was like, that was his comment on, hey, we're announcing this rivalry. It's called the Blue Bonnet Battle.
That's dumb.
Yeah. So
the rivalry.
Yeah. Number 15, Oklahoma State travels to Houston, 3 o'clock, ESPN 2.
Houston has a little bit of spice to them. They've shown a couple different things.
What do you think happened with Oklahoma State? I haven't watched Gundy's press conference yet. I know he walked in the room and he brought his dog with him because he said, I knew I was going to need some protection after that poor coaching I did, which I thought was kind of cool.
Probably just had his dog with him. I don't know. I didn't see it necessarily, but like Oklahoma State, you give up 45 points. That's bad. You only score 3, also bad. So Oklahoma State's defense has shown some vulnerabilities to big shots down the field, and I would imagine UCF did that.
Got a few of those,
and they've also, if Ollie Gordon isn't really good, Aiden Bowman's not good enough to just go out and win you a game or just convince down the field. So I'm guessing they just sold the farm to stop Ollie Gordon. That's my guess.
Ollie Gordon had 25 yards rushing on 12 carries.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that's what it was. They just sold the farm.
Long rush of 5 yards.
We are going to not let number 0 beat us. I don't care anybody else. Anyone else can beat us. We're going to put 8 guys in the box the entire time and dare Aiden Bowman to throw. So that's my guess is they'll get some things fixed, but that's probably what the situation is going to be. It's like the Troy Davis effect.
UCF rushed for almost 300 yards
Yeah.
and threw for almost 300 yards.
Do you think next game, 4 o'clock on FS2, UCF at Texas Tech, 2 5-5 teams battling for a bowl eligibility?
UCF, they're
rolling
going into the
momentum.
year. I thought they were going to be better. Like they
did
were going to
too.
be the team that sort of like rose to the top of the new 4 teams. And then John Reese Plumlee is out for 4 games. They lose every one of them.
Yep.
And then he comes back and like that's the team you sort of expected to see. And they have Gus Malzahn, who like dude can coach.
Won big games.
And so I don't know. UCF's a team.
Do you subscribe to the fact that good coaches rise to the top in November? Josh Pate was really hard on this on his show this week.
Well, yeah, and it's
agree
it's
with
load management, it's
Yeah.
motivation, it's because everyone's going to lose. Can you get guys back up off the mat when you lose?
And it's hard for like this is the time of the year where it's hard to wake up and you're tired and it's
Everything
dark
hurts.
and everything hurts and you got school and you're getting ready for finals and you're missing your family for
do you still get
Thanksgiving.
do you still get the dog days feel that like I don't want to say sports with longer seasons than football, but do you get in like week 10, 11 get that like
your
insane
body just
thing?
beat up.
Everything
you're
hurts.
tired. You are.
It's
ready.
probably even to a harder extent though, because you're even more sore than a normal
Well,
going
and-
through the motions
and
player would
and
be.
for young guys especially. I mean, I was always fortunate growing up in Ames and then going to Iowa State, but a lot of people like, hey, we got Thanksgiving and we got Christmas. Like those dudes aren't used to not having those times with their families or whatever it may be. That it's like, hey, you're away from home, and the rest of your family's getting together. You're this, that, the other. You're traveling for a bowl game for Christmas. School finals, if it's your first time taking finals, or I mean, it's you've all been through it. It's already a lot, and then your body's sore, you're banged up.
You're getting told
Stuff's
how
going
good or
on.
bad you are.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just hey, we're in it. Like we gotta continue grinding every single day, and all you want to do is just get a nap and catch up on sleep.
Yeah, and I think one thing that like I've always been sort of envious of like basketball and soccer and sports or sports that like cross semesters.
Calling them easier sports. Jeff?
No, it's that what's harder about that they're missing the
So much
start
school.
and the finish of different semesters, but
okay,
like
yeah.
the stressful part of their season isn't during finals. Where like
Yeah.
volleyball and football, I mean, I think volleyball gets done a little sooner than football does, but like football season ends like the first week of December. Finals are the first week of December. So like the most stressful part of your season by the time you're the most worn down is also academically the hardest part of your season. So like that's another thing. So yeah, as far as coaches being able to manage, it's load management, it's emotion management, it's making sure that these kids going through all of like what Collin was saying, that they can still actually get up and do it, which is why a team with Gus Malzahn is responding up despite all the things that have gone and happened versus like a team like Cincinnati with Satterfield, which I don't think is the same quality coach, isn't. So like that to me is sort of the difference.
Not that it changes your point, but finals are third week of December now.
Third week of December?
Were they first when you were there?
The second week of December.
Yeah,
It's really the third week of December.
because
Aiden?
the Cyhawk men's and women's basketball games are on dead week.
Well, that's the first week of December, isn't it?
Did they change it again?
The Cyhawk
Third
game?
Oh,
Third week of December.
That's
That's
Christmas,
like
man.
24th.
Second
like-
week of December is finals.
It's like Christmas,
we're-
dude.
But then it'd be the second.
It's
Hold
like
on.
just admit you're wrong.
This
it's okay.
is just how calendars work. No.
just admit you're wrong. It's okay.
Well, I mean, if you think about like, if
Yeah,
it's
this
December
year the
8th being,
second.
like, the
This year it
second
would be the
week,
second week of December. This is when the Cyhawk men's games are. This is finals week. I guarantee it. It's always the week after. So depending on the year, sometimes it might fall into second.
Anyway.
I'm wrong though.
Anyway.
That sounded really rude. I was trying to pass.
No,
pass
let
on
them know
that
what you
subject.
think. No, let them know. Don't apologize.
That's the worst argument to do that on too. I wasn't trying to correct you, Woody. I just didn't know if it was.
Yeah, I
different
take
back
offense
in
to
the
most
day.
things. I'm very sensitive. delicate flower.
Sunflower Showdown, right? Kansas State, Kansas. That's what it's called.
Is Jason Bean healthy? Is Daniels healthy?
I
I doubt it. You're playing with a walk-on
Third
true freshman
string
quarterback
walk-on.
against Kansas State.
Who actually played okay? Maybe?
He lost to Texas Tech. I don't know.
I think. I mean, Kansas State.
I mean,
is one,
for a third string walk-on quarterback, that's a true freshman.
He didn't.
No, I
One
think
interception. I suppose he didn't throw away the farm, but
I think Kansas State's going to win this one by a lot.
I do too. I'm interested to see their dynamic on who they throw out there between.
What if
Howard
Jalen
and
Daniels
Johnson
is healthy
stuff.
though? What if he's healthy and he just comes back
Dude,
to play
just
for
freaking-
just that 1 week?
Balls out.
Do it, please do it, Kansas.
I hope he announces that he's coming back for just that game, and then he will not play in the bowl game and will enter the portal after. you know how badass that would be?
That'd be great.
That'd
I
be
care about
hilarious.
this rivalry, and then I'm going to go in the portal and make some money.
I don't think that a person would probably do that.
No, that's why I'm wishful that
It'd
it
be
would
cool.
happen.
It'd be cool.
All right, that is your Big 12 talk. Real quick, because I want this to be spotlighted. It's the Texas A&M Boosters, the 12th man foundation at halftime of Saturday's game against Mississippi State, a 51-10 win or something like that, a big blowout. They presented the athletic department with a $160 million check. Just you could buy new facilities in football and basketball for Drake and you and I. Still have more than half of that left over. Pay whoever you want, go D1 in whatever sport. Like just an asinine amount of money. And they presented this check at halftime of the game and then fired the dude the next day. I just thought how it happened and like that the fact that they presented the check on the field was the funniest part of the whole weekend.
I think the crazy thing about it is like the money that they have down there to like $75 million or $77 million they're paying this guy to fire
not
him.
coach. Yeah.
And then they have to go and probably pay a new guy $10 million a year. Like, so yeah, you're paying this guy, what was it, like $20 million he has to get in the first 90 days and
Yep.
then another $7.2 million for the next 11 or 6
Yeah,
years.
yeah, it's like within 60, I think it's 19 million or something, and then it's like the next 6 year, the
You know
next
what's- and
120.
what's
it's the next
amazing
installment,
about that-
but it's all the way through 2031.
Whoever his agent was, as soon as they signed
It's,
it,
Sexton is his last name.
I mean,
Jimmy Sexton or something like that.
that dude is
Genius.
a genius because normally, and like this would happen, and so with Tom Herman's contract, I just remember because we were talking with my buddies about it. So with Herman's contract with Texas, the clause wasn't in there. Or the clause was in there that if you take another job, the earnings get offset to the amount that you have to get paid. So like if someone fires, you know, if we fire Collin and you're making $5 million a year, and you go take another job and make $2 million a year, then I only have to pay you $3 million. So it offsets the earnings. So Herman, what he did because he wanted to be sort of spiteful towards Texas, and also like he didn't need to take another head coaching job. He wanted to be a volunteer offensive analyst, or like make $50,000 to work with the Bears as a quarterback's offensive analyst. $50,000. That's the only thing. So he's like, no, Texas, you are paying me all of this money.
He's probably going there and learning.
Yeah. And so, but however, Jimbo Fisher's contract doesn't have that provision.
Seriously?
They're locked into that amount that they have to pay him regardless of what he does. So he can go get a TV announcing job and have his agent negotiate for that to be $2 million a year. And that's just on top of what Texas A&M is going to pay him. Hell or high water, they have to pay Jimbo Fisher via the language of his contract all of that money. That to me is the biggest thing that, like,
Will it stand as the worst college football contract of all time?
dude, it's got to be.
I don't think there's anything close.
It's the Bobby Bonilla contract.
Yeah.
You know, like the fact that he's going to get paid, he will get paid $76 million regardless from Texas A&M for the next 6 years, no matter what he does. That is awesome. Like, Jimbo Fisher's like, take him or leave him. Do whatever you want, bud. Like, go travel around the world for a year. Go live in, I don't know, the Amalfi Coast on a villa and
Go buy an island.
a yacht. Yeah, I don't know. Do whatever you want to do.
And I don't imagine he didn't get rumblings of it or didn't see it coming or anything, but just imagine like working your office job and someone brings in a check. Like, we just uncovered $160 million. And it's like the next day, like, oh, hey, the money's still here, but you're gone. Like, that was just funny. Like, this is the check that we're going to use to fire our head coach, and we're going to present it on the field at halftime.
I mean, I would have, that's got to be, you got to be like sort of half mad, but like that, like, oh, I failed in this job, but also like, that's cool. Like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll go.
I set myself up pretty good. I've won a national championship. Like,
I'll go take this.
Who would you get?
All right, see ya.
Who would you go get?
I don't know who's gonna freaking take that job.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Who wants that? Like, I
mean,
this
you
in, like,
have
who wants that job?
You have every if you want to be in the college football playoff, and as long as you're fine working with crazy boosters and stuff, you have every facility there to go win.
But you
right
have
now.
to. But here's the thing: like, you're competing. So yes, the playoff expanding helps to get this job, but Alabama and Saban aren't going anywhere. Kirby Smart and Georgia aren't going anywhere. Like, you right now, those two teams are going to be at the top of the SEC. Good luck. Okay, so now you got to compete with then Chip Kelly and LSU. Probably not going anywhere.
What are they paying their quarterback to come in? I'll double it.
Like,
I'll coach Texas A&M. The open invite or open.
either
put
way.
in.
So even let's call it still. You have $1 zillion to bring everyone together. You have to keep those egos together. And if you go 7-5, get out of here. You can't. Your floor is 11 wins. Whoever gets brought in, and anything less than that is going to be absolute just brimstone.
You need you need an ego manager. I would bring in Fred Hoiberg. Honestly.
Like how just to me that like this might just be the Midwesterner in me, but like I don't want that job.
No.
Yeah.
At all. Like
No,
that doesn't seem that is the hot girl that's single and just looking for a date, but is absolute toxic mess. Like that is one you don't want. Hey, you're gorgeous, but please stay away.
And
like
this is one of my favorite things to do is just think about coaches going to different places. Like Ed Orgeron would be awesome there. Be hilarious.
He was at LSU. It was the same thing at LSU. And he won one
He
year.
won a championship.
And then the next 2 years,
I
they
don't care. You
fired-
trade
they
everything
fired
for a
him.
championship.
They fired Ed
It's the
Orgeron.
Chicago Cubs formula. You trade everything after you win one. It's fine.
It was that Texas A&M job, man.
I don't know
touch
why.
it.
Yeah.
Don't touch.
And
I,
the thing is,
It's
they're
the
gonna have to-
resources. And now that NIL is a thing, that money, specifically with how much they just got this weekend, will go a long ways.
It's just so crazy to me. Like they're gonna be investing so much already between NIL, all that stuff, like facilities, paying all their coaches. I mean, their OC has to make a crap ton of money on top of their head coach, but they're firing that entire staff. Like they're saying, hey, we're gonna pay this guy $7 million a year to not coach for us, and then we're probably gonna go hire someone and pay him $10 million a year. So they're gonna pay out $17 million a year just to head coaches.
yeah.
just
Not
those
let
two,
alone
not,
like
not the
OC,
rest of the sports they
DC,
have.
Like that is like the
Pretty
money
sure they
down
have
there
a-
is just like how can anybody even like?
Pretty sure they have a
compete with
meat judging program they have to keep going too. I'm serious. I'm not joking. There's like 15 of them out there. It's an
Really?
actual sport. That one might not be. I'm pretty sure it's college oriented. I think Texas Tech has the best meat judging team.
Okay.
Fun fact for you. What I'm trying to say is they have more
Yeah.
athletic departments to budget, and you're spending about what a normal collegiate athletic department Power
You
Five.
want to
would
take
make
a
in year.
guess when the last time that Texas A&M won 10 games was?
Yes, 2011,
2012. You want to know the last time before then they won 10 games was?
98.
1998. Then 94, 93, 92,
you.
91.
I'm awesome.
They have won 10 games. So if we go back to 1993, 4 times in 30 years. And they're paying $17 million or $10 million, $7 million to a coach to not coach.
How do you keep donor base like that?
I don't know.
Loyal. It's Chicago
'Cause their
Cubs
grandma-
fans. It's
their-
Cubs fans, man.
Their-
Like they're just
their
loyal.
grandma was the donor there, and their
I don't get
grandpa.
They went to Midnight Yells and like bought into the Colt stuff. Like,
I don't get it.
That's
how do
crazy.
Colts stick together? Ask yourself that.
Anyway.
This has been a great show. I love you guys.
Thanks,
Beat
guys.
Texas.
Beat Texas. That's all that matters.
Thank you, guys, for tuning in to Fart. Once again, presented by Wiffles Hybrids and the patented. See you next Tuesday.